Hey everyone, I hope you had a great day. In this video we are looking at some new r/prorevenge stories. I hope you enjoy them. The first story is called Accuse Me of Stealing. This happened way back in the Dark Ages, 1986. I was 21 at the time and working for a gas station that was associated with a certain grocery store chain in Washington state. It was owned by a company not affiliated with said chain but had locations at nearly every one. As this was long before the days of debit cards, this was a cash-only gas station. We didn't even take credit cards. Customers would pull up, pump their gas and then come to my window to pay. We also sold cigarettes. But no drinks and no snacks. Customers couldn't even get into my booth. I had been working there for about a year when the company announced that it was closing the location. A manager and I were offered positions at another location upstate and we both accepted. We moved our respective families and started our new jobs as new hires. This station was incredibly busy. We did more business in 8 hours than my old location would do in a week. This location also had a different setup. Here you would pull into the station from a single entrance, pump your gas and then drive forward to a single exit where the Pay Here booth was located. There were always 2 cashiers on duty and each cashier had a cash drawer. One thing I should note, there were also no computers. So closing the drawer down between shifts was time consuming and tedious. We had to manually count the cigarettes remaining and count the cash drawers. We would fill out an end of shift report listing with the starting balances and the ending balances. We also had to list the gallons sold from each pump. At the end of the shift, the total of gallons sold and the total cigarettes sold should equal the cash balance. It is important to note here that not once in the year I had worked for the previous location had I been off by more than 10 cents. The following morning, after my first shift, I was informed by the manager that I was short $50. Impossible, I said. I balanced out yesterday. He said that I must have stolen that money after I had completed the paperwork. I just looked at him and said, "No, I didn't." He gave me a verbal warning and said if it happened again I would be fired and the stolen money would be deducted from my paycheck this week. In the 5 days that followed, I realized quickly that the manager was up to something. My old manager, who was just another worker now, was also accused of stealing. As was one other new employee. I can't vouch for the other employee, but I'm pretty sure she did nothing wrong. The employees that had been there a while were never accused of anything. I did some checking and found out this manager was relatively new, had only been there for about 6 months, and the other cashiers had been here before him. Only new cashiers were being accused of stealing. And that location had been having stealing problems for about 6 months, and the turnover was high with the new employees. I came to work at 6 AM on a Monday, only to be told I was being fired, for cause. The manager accused me of taking $500 out of my drawer the previous Friday. He said he only discovered it this morning, even though he had worked Saturday and Sunday. I said okay and left. I was pretty angry and instead of going home, I parked in the grocery store parking lot and proceeded to settle in to watch the gas station. I knew that at 9 AM sharp he would take the cash in the safe and make the weekend deposit. At 9 AM he left the gas station and headed to the bank. But instead of walking into the bank, he walked into the Indian casino next door. It's not really a casino, like we think of today, but more of a betting parlor for the races. It did have slot machines, but no card tables. I think, well, this is interesting. He comes out of the casino at exactly 10 AM, walks next door to the bank, does his business and then heads back to the gas station. And I head home with a plan. Every morning I follow him from the gas station to the casino. I take a picture of him leaving and one of him arriving at the bank and walking into the casino. I take pictures of him coming out and then heading to the bank. I do this for 5 days straight. He even went on Saturday. On day 3, my old manager was fired for stealing $150. I get the film developed, no digital camera in the Dark Ages, and note the times and dates on the back of each one. Then I call the main office of the gas company. It's after 5, but I'm hoping someone is there. And there is. I speak to a woman and explain my situation, and she says she knows exactly who I should speak to and transfers me. By some grace of God, she has transferred me to none other than the CEO of the company. I tell him my story and tell him I did not steal from his company and could prove who actually did. He took down my information and said he would be in touch. I'm thinking to myself, yeah, right. The next morning I went to the station to perform my usual observation of the manager. At 9 AM he leaves for the bank. At 10 AM he comes out. At that moment, two stern-looking gentlemen approach him. One pulls out his wallet and shows him something. The other one is talking. The manager goes pale and takes a step back. The next thing I know, he is being escorted to a car I hadn't noticed and they drive off. I lose him at a traffic signal, so I head back to the station. They all show back up about 5 minutes later, and a few minutes after that a police cruiser comes. The officer talks to the stern gentleman and proceeds to place the manager in handcuffs. The other man says nothing, but is glaring daggers at the manager. The president called me later that afternoon and informed me that the manager had been arrested for embezzlement. Turns out that in 6 months he had managed to steal about 5K. He would take the store cash into the casino and gamble with it. If he won, he would make the normal bank deposit. If he lost, he would make the deposit and note in his records that we had been short the previous day. The CEO had already been focusing on that location because of the stealing and high turnover rate. And my information helps them figure out what exactly had been going on. I was thanked and sent a substantial check as a reward. My old manager was offered the manager's job and I was offered my old job back. I declined as I had already found another job that I liked more and paid better. The gambling manager was sentenced to 1 year in jail in order to attend counseling for his gambling addiction. His wife divorced him and took their 3 children to California. His house was foreclosed on and he ended up in a homeless shelter. Don't accuse me of stealing. I will get revenge. The next story is called Let's Smoke Your House. A friend of mine used to install wood stoves and sell firewood. He still sells firewood but stopped bothering with fireplaces. This one guy bought a wood stove and wanted it installed. My friend did this but told him he would need a higher chimney for better air drawing. The guy refused it. I'm assuming maybe he didn't want a higher chimney for the look. But my friend kept insisting. The owner said no, and when the fireplace was done, he complained it was hard to get a fire going. This was expected, due to the chimney being too short, leading to poor drawing of air. My friend came with a chimney extension, and it worked fine, but the guy decided he didn't want to pay still, even though the job was done and done well. So a few weeks later, my friend was passing through the area and saw that nobody was home. But there was a fire going to keep the house warm. The owner must have been at work. So my friend climbed up onto the roof and got his chimney extension back. It was a plus, but not enough to cover everything that was installed and the time. Where things get funny is that once he took the extension off the chimney, due to poor drawing of air, the house started to fill up with smoke as the fire burned. The owner must have come to a thick smoke-filled home. Try getting that smell out of stuff. Probably a layer of soot on everything. The owner did not have any pets, so no lives were harmed. But when everything you own is black and reeks like smoke and your home is freezing in the middle of winter, I bet you would have rather have paid someone for their products and services. The last story is called Unwilling to Pay. I'm a 17-year-old rap dev in India who can make basic websites and stuff to earn money for video games. The jobs are pretty easy for the pay. I got picked up by some local bakeries so people could pre-order cakes and stuff online. It took a few hours to puke out a functional backend and a day to make it all pretty. I had agreed on $10, which is insanely cheap, even for India. But all I need is video game money, so I'm good with that. When I was done with the job, they needed to purchase the domains and a server, which I explicitly told them. You pay me $10 and use another 10 to buy a domain and 5 to rent a server. Total is 25. They gave me $15 so I could set the stuff up. Once the website was fully operational, I asked for my money. But apparently they didn't want to pay, because if I wasn't hosting the server anyways, why do I need compensation? You know, because apparently time has no value. The thing was, I could still access the server, as I had the credentials for the server. So I go home, log in and make one tiny change. The way the website works is that there's a customer page that shows you your orders and there's a page for the store owners to see orders, payments and such. I added a small, inconspicuous may contain semen warning in all product details. And in the page where it shows the order confirmations to the customer, some options are changed with semen, so like semen frosting, by random. The website went down in about a week and they are back to selling on Facebook. I guess someone complained or something. Thanks for watching the video. I hope you enjoyed it. If you did, please subscribe to the channel. Have a great day. Bye bye.